Hi, fourth grade. It's me, Miss Phelps, and we're going to work on math today. So let's get started. Today we are going to solve with fluency 1- and 2-step problems involving multiplication. We're going to review important vocabulary. We're going to represent word problems with a strip diagram, and we're going to solve word problems with partial products. Why? Well, it's important for us to be able to solve multiplication problems with partial products so you're able to see the value that is being multiplied. So let's get started. Here are our vocabulary words for today. We have 3 words. The first word is multiplication, and when we multiply, we are combining equal amounts. Our next word is product. When we are finding the product, it's the result of multiplying 2 or more numbers together. So the product is our answer to a multiplication problem. The last one is factor, and a factor is a number that is multiplied by another number. So in this example, 3 and 7 are the factors, and 21 is the product. So let's get started. We are going to look at a couple of examples. The first example says that Harriet needs to pick up donuts for the 4th grade. She got 15 dozen donuts. How many donuts did she pick up? Well, that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read my problem. But then I'm going to read it again and I'm going to find the important information. So let's read it one more time. Harriet needs to pick up donuts for the 4th grade. She got 15 dozen donuts. How many donuts did she pick up? Well, I'm going to highlight a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to highlight is 15 dozen. And the question's asking me how many donuts did she pick up? But when I look at this problem, I only see one number. And I know when I multiply, I usually have to have more than one number. Well, this one's a little tricky because of the word dozen. Remember that dozen means 12. So I'm going to now make a strip diagram that represents this problem. So I'm going to set up my 4-square model. I know I'm going to do strip diagram first, then my equation, my estimate, and then I'm finally going to solve. So the first thing I'm going to do is my strip diagram. So she got 11 dozen donuts. So I'm going to say 11 groups of 12. So here is my strip diagram. And if I count it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there are 12 inside of each one. So 11 groups of 12. Whenever I'm multiplying, that multiplication sign, that X, really means groups of. So she has 11 groups of 12, and I am looking for my total number of donuts. After I've done my strip diagram, I'm going to go to step 2, which is my equation. My equation I am trying to solve for this problem is 11 times 12 equals, I don't know, that's what I'm trying to find out, but it's going to tell me the number of donuts. After I've written down my equation, I'm actually going to estimate. So I'm going to bring my equation over here, and I'm going to round. We've been talking about rounding. And I'm going to use rounding as my method of estimating. So I'm going to think, what's 11 close to? Now, if you need to, you can use your number lines like you've used in the past to help you. Or if you already know what it's close to, you can do it that way. I'm going to say that 11 is close to 10 and that 12 is also close to 10. So the problem I'm going to try to solve that's a little bit simpler is 10 times 10, and that's going to give me about the number of donuts that Harriet needs to pick up. Now, I'm going to use partial products to help me solve this problem. So I'm going to set up my boxes first. I'm going to break the number 10 into my tens and ones. So here is the tens, here is the ones. So I have 10 tens and 0 ones. And I'm going to do the same thing with my other 10 tens and 0 ones. Now, this is what I'm actually going to multiply. So in this box right here, I'm going to do 10 times 10. In this box, I'm going to do 10 times 0. This one is going to be 0 times 10. And this final box is going to be 0 times 0. I always like to write down what problems I'm going to do so I remember what I'm solving for. After I've written down my problems, I'm actually going to multiply. Well, I know that 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 0 is 0. 0 times 10 is 0. And 0 times 0 is 0. Now, I have all of these partial products right now, but I actually have to add them all together to get my answer. So I'm going to actually do that. So when I do, I know that I have 100 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 100 donuts. So I know that she has about 100 donuts to pick up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve. So again, I'm going to use my actual equation of 11 times 12, and it's going to tell me the number of donuts. Again, I'm going to use my partial products method. This time I'm actually going to break the number 11 and 12 apart. So 11 is going to be 10 plus 1. I have one group of 10 and 1 1. That gives me my 11. And then I have one group of 10 plus 2 ones that gives me my 12. Again, I'm going to write down the problems I'm actually solving for. So in this box, I'm going to do 10 times 10. This box, I'm going to do 10 times 1. Over here, I'm going to do 2 times 10. In this final box, I'm going to do 2 times 1. Underneath each statement, I'm going to actually write the product. So 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 1 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times 1 is 2. Now these are all of my products, but I want to put them all together. So I'm going to actually add all of them together. So I'm going to add 100 plus 10 plus 20 plus 2. And when I add 100 plus 10 plus 20 plus 2, I get 132 donuts. Now I'm going to check with my estimate to make sure it's kind of close, because that's the whole point of doing an estimate, to help make sure our answer is reasonable. So I said that our answer is 132. I said my estimate was going to be 100. 100 and 132 are pretty close, so I feel pretty good about my answer. Let's look at the next problem. Here's what it says. Zane is tiling his bathroom floor. He used 22 rows of 14 tiles. How many tiles did Zane use for his bathroom floor? Well, that's the first thing I do as I read my problem. But again, I'm going to read it one more time, and I'm going to highlight the important information. Zane is tiling his bathroom floor. He used 22 rows of 14 tiles. How many tiles did Zane use for his bathroom floor? Well, I know it's important that he has 22 rows, and inside of each row there are 14 tiles. And I'm trying to figure out how many tiles did he use for his bathroom floor. So again, I'm going to use my 4-square model and my problem-solving model, and I'm going to set everything up. So the first thing I'm going to do is my strip diagram. You'll notice this strip diagram looks a little bit different, and I'm going to explain why. So I have to say 22 rows of 14, or 22 groups of 14. Well, I could make my strip diagram, and it could have 22 boxes, and inside of each box could be 14, and that's completely fine. Or, to help it not be as long, I can use this ... And when I have the ... that tells me that it's going to keep going for a while. So I know that row 1 has 14, row 2 has 14, row 3 has 14, row 4 has 14, row 5 has 14. If I keep going, row 6, row 7, row 8, row 9, row 10, all the way to row 22, it still has 14. So if you see a strip diagram that has this ... that's letting you know that it's going to keep going. But it's also going to tell you how far it's going to keep going. So my strip diagram is I have 22 rows of 14, and I am trying to figure out the total number of tiles. After I've done my strip diagram, I'm going to do my equation. Well, the equation I'm solving for is 22 times 14, and it's going to tell me the total number of tiles. After my equation, I'm going to actually do my estimate. Now remember, for our estimate, we are going to round, or we're going to use compatible numbers. So for this, I know that 22 is pretty close to 20, and that 14 is pretty close to, I'm going to go with 10. So when I do that, my new problem I'm solving for is 20 times 10, and it's going to give me the total number of tiles. Now again, I'm going to use my partial products method. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break apart my 20 into 10s and 1s. So I have 20 plus 0. And I have my 10, which is 10 plus 0. Now remember, I like to write the I like to write the problem inside of each box so that I know what I'm solving for. So in this box, I'm doing 10 times 20. This box is 10 times 0. This box is 0 times 20, 0, 20. And this one is 0 times 0. And I'm actually going to solve for my products. So when I do that, 10 times 20 is 200, 10 times 0 is 0, 0 times 20 is 0, and 0 times 0 is 0. Now I have all these partial products, but I have to put them together to actually get my total. So when I do that, I'm going to say 200 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 200 tiles. So I know that Zane has about 200 tiles. After I've done my estimate, I'm actually going to solve. And I'm going to solve using partial products again. So my problem I'm solving for is 22 times 14, and it's going to tell me how many tiles I need. So again, I'm going to set up my partial products. This time I'm going to break 22 and 14 into expanded form. So I have 20 plus 2 and 10 plus 4. Again, I'm going to write in the problems I'm actually trying to solve for. In this box, it's going to be 10 times 20. This box is going to be 10 times 2. This box, oh, I made a mistake, is going to be, this box is going to be 4 times 20. And finally, this box is going to be 4 times 2. Now, after I've written down my problems, I'm actually going to solve for them. So 10 times 20 is 200. 10 times 2 is 20. 4 times 2 is 80. And 4 times 2 is 8. Now remember, when we use partial products, the last thing we have to do is actually add all of these products together. So I'm going to add 200 plus 20 plus 80 plus 8. Well, I know 200 plus 20 is 220, 220 plus 80 is 300, and then 300 plus 8 is 308. So my estimate of 200 is pretty close to 308 tiles. So I know that my answer of 308 is reasonable. So let's review what we talked about. Today we talked about solving with fluency 1- and 2-step problems involving multiplication. We reviewed important vocabulary. We represented word problems with a strip diagram. We solved word problems with partial products. And we did it because it's important to be able to solve multiplication problems with partial products so you're able to see the value that is being multiplied. Now it is going to be your turn. You are going to use the problem-solving process and solve 2 word problems. I need you to represent the word problem with a strip diagram. You're going to write an equation for the problem. You're going to estimate your product. You're going to solve using partial product. And finally, you're going to check your answer with your estimate to make sure it is reasonable. I know you're going to do an amazing job. I cannot wait to see all of your hard work. If you have any questions, please ask your teacher. I'll see you next week. Bye.